political issue currently unfolding in Indiana revolves around the highly unusual push for mid-decade congressional redistricting, an effort heavily influenced by President Donald Trump and other national Republican figures. This initiative seeks to redraw the state's congressional map, which was already finalized after the 2020 census, to secure additional Republican seats ahead of the 2026 midterm elections. Summary and analysis. Summary. The core of the controversy is the aggressive national campaign, spearheaded by the Trump administration and Vice President J.D. Vance, to pressure Republican-controlled state legislatures, including Indiana's, to call a special session to redraw congressional district lines. This unprecedented mid-cycle maneuver aims to maximize Republican advantages, particularly by targeting Indiana's two remaining Democratic-held seats, the 1st District in the heavily urbanized Northwest, and potentially the 7th District, which encompasses Indianapolis. While states like Texas have swiftly moved to adopt new maps, Indiana's Republican supermajority has shown a notable degree of hesitation and internal division. Despite direct calls from President Trump himself to state legislative leaders. Governor Mike Braun has stated that a special session is probable, but has not yet committed to calling one, preferring to wait until he is confident of a successful outcome within the GOP caucus. Analysis. This effort is a clear instance of partisan gerrymandering, but its timing, mid-decade, is what makes it particularly remarkable and politically fraught. Typically, redistricting occurs only once every 10 years following the census to account for population shifts. The decision to redraw maps now is a strategy to lock in a more favorable electoral landscape for the 2026 midterms, countering potential national political headwinds for the party in power. The hesitation among Indiana Republicans is significant. It suggests concerns over potential voter backlash, the cost and disruption of a special session, and the optics of blatantly changing the rules in the middle of an electoral cycle. Recent polls show that a strong majority of Indiana voters, including many Republicans, oppose the mid-decade redistricting push, indicating that this is an unpopular political gamble. Reasons and consequences. Reasons for the push. 1. Securing a House majority. The primary reason is the national Republican desire to solidify or expand their slim majority in the U.S. House of Representatives in 2026. By flipping one or both of Indiana's Democratic seats, the party would gain critical cushion against potential losses elsewhere. 2. Targeting Democratic strongholds. Indiana's current congressional delegation is 7-2 Republican. The proposed redistricting specifically aims to dilute Democratic voting power in the urban and minority-heavy areas of Northwest Indiana, 1st District, and Indianapolis, 7th District, by spreading those voters into surrounding, more conservative suburban and rural districts, a technique known as cracking. 3. National political pressure. Direct, high-level pressure from the former president and vice president has turned this into a test of loyalty for state-level Republicans. Advocacy groups have also threatened to fund primary challenges against incumbent state legislators who vote against redrawing the maps. Political and civic consequences. 4. Erosion of Democratic representation. The most immediate consequence would be the near elimination of Democratic representation in the state's congressional delegation, potentially changing the 7-2 split to an 8-1 or even 9-0 map, despite Democrats regularly garnering around 40 to 45% of the statewide vote. Number 5, increased voter apathy and polarization. Gerrymandering creates safe seats where the general election outcome is predetermined. This reduces competitive races, which can lead to lower voter turnout and greater political polarization, as candidates only need to appeal to the extremes of their party's base in the primary election. 6. Damage public trust. Conducting partisan redistricting mid-decade, after the official process using new census data was completed, is widely viewed by critics as a blatant power grab. Polls showing public opposition, including from GOP primary voters, suggest the move could further chip away at public trust in the integrity of the electoral process and the motives of elected officials. 7. Legal battles. Any new map is virtually guaranteed to face immediate legal challenges, particularly under the Voting Rights Act, if the lines are drawn to unlawfully dilute the voting power of racial minorities. prediction, and solutions. Prediction. Despite the internal Republican reluctance and public opposition, the most likely prediction is that Governor Braun will call a special session and the Republican supermajority will ultimately pass a new, more aggressively gerrymandered congressional map. The intense pressure from national party figures and the threat of primary challenges from conservative activists are powerful motivators. The need to finalize a map before the February 2026 filing deadline for the midterms creates a sense of urgency. The map will almost certainly be challenged in both state and federal courts, where the outcome will be uncertain, though federal courts are less likely to intervene solely on grounds of political gerrymandering. Solutions and mitigation. 1. Independent redistricting commission. The most robust long-term solution is to remove map drawing from the hands of partisan legislators. A nonpartisan, citizen-led independent redistricting commission would use neutral, objective criteria, like compactness and keeping communities of interest intact, to draw maps which would prevent this type of mid-decade political maneuver. This would require legislative action or a constitutional amendment, both of which are difficult to achieve under a partisan supermajority. 2. Increased public pressure and grassroots organizing. Continued and escalating public opposition, including rallies, media campaigns, and direct constituent outreach to hesitant Republican lawmakers, can raise the political cost of the move. Highlighting the fact that this is not what most Hoosiers want, could sway enough marginal Republican votes to delay or defeat the proposal. 3. Targeted legal challenges. Filing swift and well-documented lawsuits based on federal and state constitutional grounds, particularly challenging any evidence of racial gerrymandering, which remains illegal under the Voting Rights Act, could force a court-drawn,